So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Everybody, it's me again, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Thank you to all of you who just listened to and watched the Johan Bakayoko podcast and followed me over here as well. This podcast we're going to talk about Igor Paixão is how you pronounce it. I'm almost certain. Left winger this time. We had a right winger from PSV last time. We have a left winger from Feyenoord. This time. Let me bring up his stats early because I didn't do that the last time. So 176 games played, 142 starts in his career, 47 goals and 32 assists. Eerily similar numbers to Johan Bakayoko from the PSV that we just spoke about there a moment ago. But this guy, Igor Paixão, had an absolute sparkling season last year, scoring 16 goals and contributing 10 assists, also 24 years of age, from playing with Feyenoord in the Eredivisie, where they finished third last year. So 26 goal contributions in total last year, and that's where he really kind of hit the high notes for his career. Really, prior to that, the year previously for Feyenoord in the Eredivisie, he had 9 goals, 3 assists, and the year prior to that, as well as a 22-year-old when Feyenoord won the Eredivisie, he had 7 goals, 5 assists as well. So he's done it. He's done it in the Eredivisie, and potentially is somebody that would be looking to move on into another league, whether it's the Premier League or not. I do not know. But once again, there's just been a couple of rumors, specifically coming from the Netherlands, where Villa have been mentioned that wanting to go big for Igor Paixão, and whether that does come to fruition, I don't know. But let's talk a little bit about him. Again, very, very incredibly quick, over 5'10" meters. He's 5'6", doesn't have the longest stride, but his feet move like a singer-sewing machine. I mean, like, he's literally like Sonic the Hedgehog when his feet start to go. He's just incredibly quick. Over that 10 to 15 to 20 yards, just gets out of trouble, uses his pace and his acceleration. It's a joy to watch. Very much an attacking player, extremely quick change of direction as well. One thing that I would expect for somebody so small and so nimble. Extremely good change of direction, drop of the shoulder, hip turns, great balance as well to his game. Very, very fast feet. And that's the caveat that I want to put with this guy straight away, is some people will not like this guy immediately because he's 5'6". And I have no problem if you're one of those people. None whatsoever. However, what I will say is that at 5'6", this guy has, again, as I've said before, with strikers who are 6'5" and 6'6", this guy's always been small. He knows how to play small. Is he limited from getting a towering header at the back post? Absolutely. But will he win frees? You can be damn sure he'll win frees. Will he move that ball quickly? You can be absolutely sure he'll move that ball quickly. And that's what I was looking for with this person. So I wasn't looking for an all-rounded and a massively rounded individual here, because immediately I knew I couldn't get that. I couldn't get somebody who could muscle it in around corners. I couldn't get somebody who would be able to blow past defenders and bustle them out of the way like a Morgan Rogers. So I wasn't looking for that when I watched this guy. What I wanted to do specifically was see a la Raheem Sterling, who's 5'8". I know that's taller than Paixão, but a la Bukayo. He's 5'10", but he's very slight and slim build. These guys aren't the most strong upper body. They don't have the strongest upper bodies. So what do they do when they get the ball? Their feet have to be quick. They have to have this natural ability to manipulate the ball. They have to have this natural ability to be able to keep defenders, keep defending players away from them, not wanting to engage, scared to engage because those feet are going to start moving. And I saw that from this guy. I did. I saw that from this guy. And again, I have to, it's the greatest phrase I've ever been told by It's the greatest phrase I've ever been told by somebody in the scouting industry. It told me this, and it was, don't forget. Like it's why I've said it twice now in quick succession, because I only heard about it recently, and was only reminded of it recently, and it only clicked in my mind was these players, no matter what, like if you're scouting somebody for height and weight in a game of football, these players have always been that height. They know how to play at that height. They don't need to learn how to. You might be finding out that, like, when I watch this fella play, he doesn't look 5'6". Now he doesn't look 5'10" either, you know. But if you were to tell me he was 5'8", I would have gone, yeah, he's 5'8", you know. But then when you see he's 5'6", I was told, don't make that be too much of a negative, because they've always played, like, throughout their whole life, they've been that height. They've been a smaller person. So I always kind of, it's something that's kind of opened my eyes to looking at other areas. And if you're looking for somebody to be fully rounded as a player, you have to take those pieces off the table, because you ain't going to get them. You know, you ain't going to get the heading ability. You ain't going to get the physical strength ability. And that's fine. Don't have to look at what can this guy bring to the table. So just wanted to reiterate that again. When this boy does carry the ball, it's incredibly close to his body. The way he dribbles he doesn't kick it out in front of him. It sticks to the edge of his foot. He's like, and I know David Ginola wasn't incredibly quick. David Ginola glided across the grass, but that ball was never more than like 2 centimeters away from his foot when he was dribbling. That's the same with this guy, Paixão. I find that he's got incredibly good close control. He very, 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 very fast touches of the ball, and very good feints as well, you know. So what I wanted to see, I saw from him from that point of view. Loves to apply the brakes, so understands he's fast. Sprints, stops, sprints again. Catches players unaware. He knows he's more athletic. He knows he's more nimble than 90% of the players in world football. And that's what he gets away with. Somebody who's as small as him, it's hard to catch. So that start, stop, sharp braking, sharp acceleration, great cuts and feints inside are a really good trait of his game as well. Again, he plays from the half spaces as well. Very good body shape when he's kicking the ball. You know, right-footed. He is right-footed again. So, you know, obviously right-footed playing on the left-hand side ticks all the Unai Emery boxes from that point of view too. Very much curlsy shots, not very much power striker. Like the difference between himself and Bakayoko is Bakayoko has very, very short backlift. This guy curls. It's mostly side-footed shots that I see from him, albeit, you know, he can put his laces through it, but it's not his preferred method of striking as well. Again, you're going to hear something from me that I very rarely say, and the reason that I am going to say it about this guy is because it's in the box. And with the way that it's to do with XG in the box, I very rarely talk about it because I think it's a flawed metric. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is because when I watched him, he seemed to get into great positions in the box and was really good at finishing the ball when he was in the box. And it was because of his positioning. It was because of his quick movement and able to get across defenders and to get into areas where potentially bigger strikers and bigger forward players wouldn't be able to do that. So then I went and I looked at his XG. And he has a very good XG and a very good XG conversion rate for shots within the box. So there is how that for me is how you should use XG. Is it a determination of what you see on the field? You know? And for me, it was. So there's one for the bingo cards, because I don't normally talk about it at all. I said that he doesn't arrive at the back post for big towering headers, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't arrive at the back post. There was a couple of instances. I think one of them was, is it RKC Voljek? I don't know how to pronounce the team. They're playing yellow and blue. And it was this guy that I was watching. He gets on the edge of the ball coming at the back post and has an absolute rasper that the keeper was able to get down and save. So think of Trezeguet at the back post. just except he's 5'6" and he's Brazilian. When this guy got in there, so I was really impressed with that as well. He's got such effort. This guy's a real effort player. As in, he's not going to stop moving. He's your stereotypical Mighty Mouse, Sonic the Hedgehog, whatever you want to call him. That just like keeps on running, and is a nuisance and a thorn in the side. And as I say, like of his goals last season, he had 16 and 10, and that was only in the league. That was only in the Eredivisie last year. In the Champions League, he had 2 goals, 4 assists as well last year. So he knew how to get in and around and how to play. As I say, he knows how to play the game of football, and he was able to play it at the highest level as well. I can't remember exactly who those goals and assists were in the Champions League, but if anybody knows, pop them in the comments there as well. Yeah, as I say, his inverted threat is something that will be right up Unai Emery's street as well, along with his high tempo combination play. Well, again, like he loves receiving the ball, but he's back to play on the half turn, turns quickly, really good at 1-2s, creating triangle passes or triangles in the middle of the field as well. When he cuts inside or even on the outside with a overlapping fullback, can create that triangle so they can shift the ball. The team can shift the ball out close to the sideline, and then with his overlapping ability, get that ball back inside again, then play a little triangle in around the box, and then he's gone. He's scampering in towards goal as well. So he's all movement and he's all good, very good close control as well. He's somebody that Arne Slot loved as well. And Arne Slot really requires his players. Here's one that you don't need even eyes to understand this one, but Arne Slot really requires their players to be able to press high and to lead the first wave. And it was like this guy in the Eredivisie last year, I think he was in the top 90% of wingers for ball recoveries and high press percentages in the Eredivisie last year. So if you want somebody to press up high, he is going to press up high. Doesn't commit an awful lot of fouls, loves tackling the dribblers. And I think one of the things is that, like, unlike Bakayoko, he will track back and he will get back and use his pace to get back with players. Gives away some fouls, tackling from coming from behind because he's a lot quicker than players. You know, he tries to get in around them, will knock them over and give away fouls. That's fine. I'm not too disappointed with that. I think that's coachable within his game. But for me, what it is when if he's in a zonal defensive area, if he's handing a player off between his fullback or even between the 6 pivot and himself, at times that's where he kind of, it looks like he doesn't fully understand how to do that well. Which, to be honest with you, probably isn't even taught in Brazilian football at young ages anyway. And it's something he would have to learn. Is that not even communication, but the whole fact that, you know, you pass somebody off, well, then where's the person you're going to need to pick up? He's very much a player who stands in the periphery once you get into the defensive third, and again wants to be that outlet ball, like I mentioned about Bakayoko as well. Albeit he's more tenacious in defense than Bakayoko. He's like, if you overload him on that side and you've got a fullback that doesn't have their head screwed on, or you've got a young fullback or the fullback that isn't really brilliant at defending the ball or at defensive positioning, that can talk to him. I just see that, you know, at times he just doesn't follow that, doesn't track that extra runner, because he feels once he's passed his man over to the fullback that he's there to be that out ball. Once again, is it a coachable trait? It absolutely is when you've got his energy levels. I think you can definitely coach that. He is incredibly one-footed as well, by the way. Incredibly one-footed. Very, very. I actually, and once again, I'm open to correction on this. So please, once again, if you guys watch him, let me know in the comments afterwards. I can't remember a specific key action he created with his left foot, but I don't really care because his right foot is really good. So, and again, I might have missed it, but I would just everything I seem to remember him doing well comes off of that right foot. Obviously, look, his height and his weight are going to be are intangibles that are tangibles, should I say, that you're going to look at. Like, he gets brushed off the ball. You know, if he was coming up against the Kyle Walker, and you had a referee that was letting things flow, let's just say, and he tried to skip around Kyle Walker was sticking out an arm and was muscling him. Yeah, you're going to have days like that where it's not going to pay off for him. But if he is What I saw is obviously the Dutch league is quite agricultural in that way as well. You know, that a fullback can kind of get in a winger's face, and yes, the pace of the game is slower, specifically when teams are trying to come out of defense. But one thing I will say from him is that when that did tend to happen to him, he drifted inside more, started playing those triangle passes, started playing wall passes, started being a creator for other players, and then would shoot back out wide again. So he would then create the distance between himself and the defender and make sure that when he did that, he left himself a good enough runway to go wide if he needed to, or to go directly down the tram line if he needed to as well. So I don't know. Like, as I say, it's, again, you have to remember this guy is used to being pushed around all his life, so he's going to have counter actions towards that. And if he's as good as he's shown for in the Eredivisie, he can up his game and come to the Premier League, which, you know, a lot of people seem to think he can, he's going to grow then as well as a footballer. He's only he's going to turn 25 next week in 5 days' time. So you know, he's not at the peak of his powers, but he's also not a spring chicken either. And I definitely think that you can teach an old dog new tricks, specifically as when you've had the kind of the rapid rise that he's had, because he was playing with Curitiba in Serie B in the Brasiliaro, or however you pronounce it. They got promoted into Serie A and that. And it was that year that they got promoted. He got he was moved on to Feyenoord. So like, he started his career, started playing professional football as an 18-year-old in Brazil, and has pretty much been a mainstay ever since. You know, since he's played football. So he's obviously shown that growth and that career arc as well. Yeah, so like, I suppose really, what is he? Again, he's that modern inverted winger type, like I mentioned. He could also play as a second striker. I think you could move him into that 10 position if you needed to. So if you were in a position where you were chasing a game, you were 20 minutes out, and instead of just bringing him off and bringing a like for like player on, because he's so adept at that ball at his feet, playing triangle passes, playing wall passes, playing, you know, just that close control, you could move him into the 10 position, try and drag a centre half out. If you're playing against a team with 3 at the back, try and drag a centre half out, try and engage him, like we used to do with Emi Buendia 2 to 3 years ago when he was in the team. You could do that again with this guy. His ability to turn players is brilliant, and that would be something to that I think will be beneficial as well. You know, you could have a Rodgers on the right, you could have a Malin you could have Rodgers on the left, Malin on the right, Ollie Watkins up top, this fella drifting in, playing that second striker, almost like playing as a number 10, like you could Coutinho type at Liverpool in there in that pocket. And then as the ball comes, you know, players start to run off him because he's very deft touches, and he is very good at turning players and maybe bursting forward himself if he needed to come deeper to get that ball. He has been played in that position sparingly at Feyenoord, but still has been played in that position at Feyenoord too. So yeah, so for this guy, once again, it's a lot to like in him. Looks like a very positive guy again as well from a mentality point of view. I read in an article that he seems to be loved in the dressing room. He's a real bubbly type character, energetic guy, friendly, Samba kind of positive mentality about him as well. Once again, I don't know how true that is. I just read it somewhere, so it's definitely something to put into the mix with him as well, because, you know, Unai Emery has tried to cultivate a no dickheads club at Aston Villa, and we have seen it at times. People who've been mulling or have been clouds within the dressing room have moved on at times in Unai Emery's tenure too. What else there to like about this guy? Tracks back very, very well. I mentioned that before. Very good stamina, very good long sprint range, as well as being absolutely rapid over the first 10 yards. So as that out ball, if you want to get that out ball out, and think of it this way, if you're in a game whereby you have Ian Matson and him on that left-hand side, you know, the right back would want to have some sort of mobility scooter to be able to keep up with the two of them, because you know, you're going to get you're going to have a crick in your neck from turning around if those guys start to get past you on a regular basis in games. And what do you know? What's the best way to beat a low block or to beat a mid block? So run around it. That's my view on it. And the best way to beat a low block is to get out wide and get players turned and have players running off the shoulder, almost, I won't say rugby style, but, you know, overlapping and underlapping style. Try and get players turned out of their lines. That's how you beat the low and mid block to a great degree. And also, you know, when we look at how players can play the triangles, or sorry, how this player can play the triangle passes as well, passing in and passing through a mid block as well, can be very very beneficial and advantageous as well for attacking teams too. So look, there's an awful lot to like about him. Is he going to be somebody who translates to the Premier League? I don't have a crystal ball. I cannot tell you that. That's going to be his biggest thing, is can he translate to the Premier League? Does his learning arc, does his career arc, is his coachability arc going to continue going on that rapid ascent like it is at the moment? He's 25, as I say, in 5 days' time. He's going to want that move. Very fun player to watch. Scored a lot of goals last year, and is somebody I think that will get a move this off season and deserves it. Deserves it for what I've seen. Fun player. And you guys go watch him. Let me know what you think of him as well. Look at him here in comparison to the other players that we have within the team. A lot of what I said, mentioned about what I saw, you can actually see here in these statistics. Takes more shots than the guys in our team as well. Also has a very good shot on target rate. Remember, I mentioned that himself and Johan Bakayoko have a very similar profile. I think this is what Unai Emery wants. He wants players that will take more shots and be more kind of be less gun shy. He wants players that will create shot creating attempts. Creating attempts more so than goal creating attempts. And I think when we look at Bakayoko previously, you know, you can lay the ball on a silver platter for someone and he skies it over the bar and you don't get an assist and you don't get a goal creating action from it. You know, you get a shot creating action, but you don't get a goal creating action. So I much prefer people who are creating shots for their colleagues. And you can see this guy does that at a really, really good clip here at 5.08 per game. Goal creating actions up there 0.53, so creates half a goal every game if you can do such a thing. One of the biggest things here, and I said it to you, the ball is so into his foot, a la David Ginola back in the day. He very rarely gets dispossessed. What you want is a low dispossession number, and you can see here that when we look at Morgan Rogers, when we look at Leon Bailey, and to a lesser degree Jacob Ramsey, they do dribble and they do get dispossessed. If you have somebody who's more assured and is less likely to get dispossessed, once again, you're becoming more of a two-headed monster with Morgan Rogers maybe on one side or playing through the middle. You've got another outlet ball if he is blunted at any stage as well. So, lot to like again about this guy, and yeah, it's something that I think that we can something that I think we can get our teeth into, specifically the profile. And if there is anything in these rumors that Unai Emery is looking for somebody who can dribble that ball and is more of a progressive carrier. Oh, I forgot to mention it with Johan Bakayoko previously as well. He actually has a 181 progressive yards carried per game, which is bloody outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. This guy comes in at 114 or 116, and himself and Bakayoko finished second and third in the most amount of carries and the most progressive distance carried in the Eredivisie last year, only bettered by Noah Lang from PSV as well. So, you know, these guys, their bread and butter is that out and out wingerdom as well, which is great. Come to some of your comments here as well. So where are we? John Steele, I'm not ready for mentioning Limerick losing Dublin yet. I'm not ready. It didn't happen. I haven't woken up yet. So where else are we? That's British Mick says, I think all the fans will agree that sheer pace has always been missing from all our teams. And even in the years where we've had it, it's normally been without the end product. Yeah, and look, again, I suppose the transferability from the Eredivisie into the Premier League is always only going to be projection with regards to the end product, specifically when you're talking about goals. But, you know, the more pace you have in a team, like, as they say, speed kills. Speed kills. So if you have players that are fast in your team, just look at Newcastle. Anthony Gordon one side, the lad on Murphy's the other side. They were providing great balls, great out balls for and Harvey Barnes providing great outlets so that Alexander Isak could stay central and basically provide him with the bullets he needed. Same with, you go back to even Alan Shearer. Alan Shearer is quoted before as saying he absolutely loved playing. Obviously, he loved playing for Newcastle because he was boyhood team, but he loved playing for that Newcastle team under Kevin Keegan because he had speed, pace all around him, and all he had to do was get into the positions to score the goals. And I know that's easier said than done, but you know, when you've got faster players, you can dictate the tempo of the game a small bit more, and you become less predictable. Yes, it does have its other downfalls as well, but you know, it's in the main, it's a lot more positive as well. Where else are we? Philly D says we can't sign anyone due to SCR. We need to sell 15 players first. We will sign players this off season. I'm for sure. Right, I think I'm going to leave it at that one because we've done two in a row there, guys. And but what I do want you guys to do is go watch him. Throw on a YouTube clip from him. As I said before, I've no problem with anybody watching YouTube highlights. You probably won't get most of this guy from YouTube highlights because you won't see the work he does off the ball. Go watch both him and Johan Bakayoko. Come back to afterwards. Comment on it. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you're excited. Tell me if you're not as excited. As I say, both these players have flaws, but they both have massive areas where I think that they can contribute and be massive plus points towards an Aston Villa squad as well. So remember, don't scout the player as a full article. Scout what you feel that you need in the Aston Villa team, and that's what I've done with these two guys, specifically the pace and the ball carrying ability. And look at how they strike the ball. Look for their technique as well. Look for how they run across defenders. If you get to watch any full games of theirs as well, just they're all the kind of things that I look for in a winger, along with their ability to be able to play players into the game, whether it's with 1-2s, overlapping, underlapping, whatever the case may be, with their fullback as well, because there has to be a bit of synergy there too. So go watch it and come back to this afterwards, after you've watched, and comment underneath as well, and let's get some interaction going on those. But I do really appreciate everybody for your time. I'm hoping to have Michael Stanham, as I say, from probably on Wednesday. I would say he will come on to talk to us about these two players as well, give us his opinion from Football Aranya. He's been on the podcast countless amount of times before. He's my go-to guy for Dutch football, but I think they're an interesting profile, so watch out for those later on in the week. And I'm desperately hoping to have a really interesting podcast for you guys, maybe on Thursday of this week. I'm not 100% sure, but keep an eye out for that. A little interesting one that I would like to be able to get out there if I possibly could. But anyway, thanks so much for your time. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa. And I forgot to click off.